Today I'm joined by Ellen, an Australian mother, accountant, and business owner. She has recently converted to Islam and moved to Egypt. She feels passionate about helping others and sharing the beauty of Islam. She even has her own YouTube channel in which to tell her experience. In addition, she finds time to enjoy her hobbies, such as playing her violin or tennis. Prior to converting at the beginning of 2020, she was in an interfaith marriage for 10 years. A very big welcome, Ellen. How are you today?
I'm really good, alhamdulillah. How are you, Crystal?
I'm very good, thank you very much, alhamdulillah. Wow, reading your intro, it definitely seems like you have a story to tell, but I want to hear your take on things. Where would you cite your journey with Islam initially began?
It's actually I was born Catholic and grown in a Catholic family, and a very practicing Catholic family. I think it's always good to clarify, because a lot of families, the religion plays different roles. You know, it can be we're part of that religion, but when we're not so practicing. But we were a practicing family. My parents are involved in the actual operations of the church. Myself and my sisters, we also were, singing weekly at church and these sorts of things. So I grew up very much involved with the church. And when I met my husband, I didn't really know much about Islam at all, but I knew how much I loved him, and I thought, look, I don't want to let that get in the way of religion get in the way. I want to live my life with this man, and we'll make a way to make it work. We'll support each other. So yeah, along the way, it was always, I've got my religion and you've got yours. Don't try and convert me. That's the one thing we can't touch.
Yeah.
But we'll gloss over that for now, and we'll we just continue living our lives. So there were a few things that along the way that we had to discuss and negotiate and take each other's opinion, and obviously with the children and their schooling was one of the biggest decisions, because that was quite a difficult decision. But I had a lot of we decided to send them to an Islamic school, and it was actually they say the way to teach others to be Muslim is to lead by example, be a good Muslim. This is what I've been told these days, and it's actually my niece who I was looking at, trying to decide which school and which, was I going to dig my heels in and argue and say, no, the kids have to go to a Catholic school, or let them go to an Islamic school. And it was actually my niece, and the way she, she was a teenager, which I'm so scared of teenagers. And, and she's just... She's just the most beautiful, a beautiful family. She enjoys spending time with her parents. She doesn't roll her eyes at them if they ask her a question, or it was. And so I thought, okay, do I want my kids to be like this one, or like me and my friends? And so it was easy, because I was never as kind to my parents the way that they've been taught to be kind to their parents. So. There was a few decisions along the way, but it was actually the Bible, and it was actually the church that made me question what's going on with my religion. What do I actually believe? I'm following and believing what I've been told to believe, but there was a reading about in the Bible from John, where he says that another prophet will come after me bringing word, but you're not currently ready to hear it now. And I was shocked,
That's
because as well,
script.
Yes, and the way that the priest didn't even consider, or he could have been referring to Prophet Muhammad. The priest that week, when he discussed his interpretation of those words in the Bible, he didn't even it didn't even come into the options, and it made me just think, hang on, why couldn't it have even been an option to explore?
Why are you glossing over it so much?
It's
interesting, isn't it, how such a massive verse about the coming of another prophet is so not mainstream, right? It's almost unheard of.
Yeah, and the more you sort of, for me, I never had believed that Jesus is God, and I think that's the more now that I've been talking about Catholicism with fellow friends and family, and they believe no, Jesus is God. And I'm like, well, explain it to me then. Why did he pray, and why did he talk about? We talk that Jesus is our teacher. He was here to teach us about our Father in heaven. Why? Like, why is he then God if he's here as a teacher? It didn't make sense to me. He's teaching us to praise God in heaven, and that's what Islam is praising God in heaven. So, and the other thing I found funny was because I haven't told anyone this yet, but I found it quite funny because I had the gap, like I was going to church with the family when I was younger, and then when I moved out of home, I wasn't going as much. And then my husband was starting to get more into Islam and, getting more close to his religion. So I thought, I better increase my,
up the ante,
Yeah, I got to up the ante. So I started going to church more. I was like, no, Sundays, no, I'm going to church. I've got to go. So I started upping the ante there. And when I went back, so there was probably maybe a 5 or 6 year gap in between going. And they changed in the church. There's you say a prayer. It's the declaration of faith. So it's saying, I believe in.
Yeah.
So it's confirming, this is what we're believing in. And you say it every single week, and you know it off by heart without thinking it. And so I went back to church, and it had changed. And I was like,
oh, wow.
what am I believing in now? And everyone just reading it like, okay, yeah, we're believing in this now.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Oh, it was very funny. But the more I looked into, and I think I'm looking more into Catholicism now to understand those misinterpretations, or understand how it all works, like I've read now that the Catholic Church has the power to change the Gospels. A lot of people don't even know that the Gospels aren't even by people called Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, even though I asked them, how many Arabs do you know that are called Mark or Matthew? They're all English names, nice and convenient for us to understand. But yeah, they have so much ability to change things that we don't know. And then when you look at the Quran, and it has not been changed. It's never been changed, and it cannot be changed. It just makes everything very clear and very simple. So I started reading the Quran, obviously, back at that time when after that week that gospel reading. And I said to my husband, I think I want to read the Quran now. And that had been, 10 years in the making. He'd been very patient.
Yeah.
He said, look, I know that afterwards, he said, I knew once you started reading it, you'd have no problems with it.
That's the most striking part so far of your story for me. Like the whole 10 years thing, that's some patience.
I know. And now that I've converted and I want everyone to know, I'm like, how did he be so patient? I'm sort of, been pushing it and trying to encourage my parents to read it for, a month, and I can't stand it. But yeah, he was... It's
interesting though, isn't it? Like when you start to pick apart whatever belief you have, or just look at it from a learning perspective instead of like just adhering to what's ever in us, like out of pride or something like that. I'm like, well, yeah, what is it that I really do believe? Did you experience any sort of like uncomfortable moments where, no, it is that way because it is?
There was a couple of, because I'm reading the English translation. So the English translation, as you probably know, compared to the Arabic, it can be very different. It can be interpreted incorrectly. So there were a few passages where I was like, and of course, right at the start as well, like when I'm reading it, and I like to read it, front to back. I like to, and my husband's like, you don't have to read it front to back. You can just choose any. No, I like to keep it in order. So number 2, and it was, talking about where you can, if you're having a disagreement with your wife, and then there's the, this at this stage you can caution her, then you can distance yourself, and then you can strike her. So of course, keeping in mind this whole image that Islam has, that the women are dominated or oppressed. Straight away I'm like, oh, what's this? What's going on here? I was going to have a lot of fun with that, and
This is the very
looking at it and
famous
actually,
verse that, yeah.
and understanding it. There's a really beautiful talk by one of my favorite on YouTube. I think you say his name, Numan. And he explains that verse really beautifully, and I encourage everyone to have a look at it. And he actually did a talk on this verse specifically for Muslims to understand, no, it is not okay to hit a woman. It's saying that if you got so angry and that actually happened to this small degree, you didn't leave a mark, and then Allah would forgive you because of your anger, but it's not you're not allowed to. But if it happened to this small, tiny, tiny degree, but anything above that, it's
you will be punished.
It's not. Yeah, that's right. It's not okay. It's not okay. So there were a couple of things like that along the way. But when you look into, and that was the thing, that was why my heart grew so much in love with Islam, because when you found something that you went, oh, hang on, this is wrong. And then you actually look at that, like that's what Islam is all about. Read, learn, and understand it. And when you actually understand what it's saying, of course, it makes sense. And it's all about protecting the woman. And it's, there's so much in there for men and women. It's not... Allah loves all of us. It's not like he loves the men first and then the women. No, it's not like that at all. It's also
very poignant how it's addressing, like in the talk, Muslims as well as non-Muslims are being addressed, or people who have just converted, because even from English translation to English translation, and then even when you're reading from the Arabic Quran itself, there's still always room for misunderstanding. Like, it can make the difference unless you are on the committed path to learn.
Oh, exactly. And it does say as well,
it doesn't
in
put
the Quran,
anybody above anybody else.
And in the Quran, it does say that some verses are made nice and crystal clear for you, and some are not clear. And it's going to leave it to your judgment in a way of testing you. Are you going to take the easy road and say, well, yeah, that's all right then, because that's what it says, I'm just going to go with that? Or are you going to actually look into it and interpret it in a good way? Which, sometimes a good way can be a little bit harder to do. Like I've found for me, not the backbiting and the anger, like not raising your voice and not gossiping and these sort of things, which becomes quite common in day-to-day, discussions and chit-chats with your girlfriends or whatever. But that actually was one of the biggest challenges and changes for me, was to not actually comment on anyone else and their situation and all of these things, which is very, very common. It's very common to do, especially between friends. So I really didn't expect that one, when people are talking about converting to Islam and, how hard it is. You've got to pray 5 times a day. I love praying 5 times a day. It's amazing. Like that's such a great gift. But people see it as it's an extra chore and an extra challenge. No, it's an amazing part of the day. It just refills you.
It's like a getaway.
Yeah, and Allah is there. He is listening to you, and you're not alone. It's the change between Christianity and Islam, and I feel so much more connection, so much more spirituality, but so much more support. I really can feel a lot in my life every single day. And the things that I ask for, and I see them coming. And I'm amazed. Like some of the things that are coming through, I'm like, wow, like I really can't believe it.
Who do I tell?
I have to. One of the things, like now with my children and knowing Islam, and now my focus has changed. I don't want to push them in school to become doctors and lawyers and brain surgeons. The most success in this world is to know Allah and to be close to your to Islam and know the Quran and understand the hadiths. And it's so much of that to learn, but to learn it and love it, that's something else, and that's really what I want to encourage and foster in my children. And so one of my prayers was, help them connect with you. I want them to stay with you. I want them to stay connected with you. And my daughter is only 8, 1 8 and 1 6. And my 8-year-old, I couldn't find her, and she's normally always at my feet. I was like, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? And then she came out from the front lounge room, which I hadn't looked in, and she said, "Oh, sorry, Mum, I was just praying." I said, "But it's not pray time." I said, "It's not pray time yet." "Yeah, no, I know. I wanted to do an extra one. I want to do 7 today."
Oh,
I was like, oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
It just warms your heart.
Goodness. Oh, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. And there's these little signs. If you see them, you'll know that it's Allah being in your life and answering your prayers. Like another one I was praying to Allah for her teeth. I was like, she's at that age where the teeth are changing and growing, and there's a cavity here, and we're just waiting for that one. And I was praying to Allah, please, just make it nice and easy for her with her teeth. And then, the next day or two, she comes up to me and she's making a chart, a teeth brushing chart. She put a thing on the wall, and I hadn't even spoken to her about it. And she put a thing on the wall with, if I get 10 stars every time I brush my teeth, I get $1. Oh, wow. Like
savvy as well, yeah.
Yeah. I know she had to brush 10 times to then get the $1. Not a brush for $1. That's way too much. That's blackmail. But there's just it's constant. I could go on and on with the little signs that I see. And yeah, I really feel that support from Allah, and I really am motivated so much to learn more. I've moved to Egypt now because I want to learn Arabic, and I want my kids to learn Arabic, so that we can, be another step closer towards understanding the Quran in Arabic. So yeah, that's what we're wanting to work on, and yeah, I'm just I'm so grateful. It really has been life-changing, and in ways that I really could not have expected. Like my life is so much better in ways I would never have dreamed, and I just I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be found. They say that there's only Allah. You can't tell someone they have to convert. You can't convince them. We lead our lives as good Muslims, and we try to inspire. But it's not up to us. It's up to Allah. So I'm so grateful that I was shown I was shown the way, and yeah, I'm really, really I encourage anyone to have a look at it, but it's the same in the Bible as well. There is a passage in the Bible where Jesus says, "No one can come to me unless the Father draws him." So it's exactly the same. No one can come to God unless it's up to him. We can do our best and we can guide, but it's up to that relationship and that connection between the individual and Allah. And he does say, "You take one step towards me, and I will come running." Yeah, that's it. And imagine that power of, he has said, "Take one step to me and I'll come running to you." Imagine that power, God, the creator of every single little thing in this world, and he's going to come running to you if you turn to him. If you seek him, you will find him. It's just amazing the how much love he has for us and how much he wants to give us. It's all there. It's all there, and he can provide so much. And the Quran in itself is such a gift. It's given us so many ways to make our life better and make our life easier for us. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing, and I'm so excited to learn more and more and more and take it on. I'm just at the start of my journey, so I'm really really excited to take more on. I'm really happy about it.
Really, may Allah bless it for you. Do you also feel like with your newfound faith and the strength and the gratitude, it's become easier to face tribulations or difficult parts of your life? I think a common misconception within religion as a whole is that, when you're close to God makes your life just consistently easy. Someone who's close to God is someone who's blessed, who's someone who has everything they want.
No, he's not a genie in a bottle. No, of course there are always difficult times. I mean, we're all going through COVID. We have businesses that are suffering. We've had to make some very difficult decisions. So we know it's not smooth sailing for the rest of our lives just because now we're worshipping and praising Allah. We know that we will be tested. We look at the lives of the prophets, the ones he loved the most, and look at what they went through. You know, when we went through COVID and we had to go into lockdown, and I was saying to my kids, yeah, but look at Yunus. He was in the belly of a whale for 40 days. But look at us. We're at home with Netflix, so we're fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So there's so much we can learn from our prophets that, yes, as much as you love and you devote your time to Allah, He will test you. He will test you, and you need to have faith. And it's actually made us so much stronger in facing these problems because we know it's Allah's will. So if it's not meant to be, we don't know the reason, and Allah knows so much better than us. There was an instance where we were about to move interstate. We were going to buy this business, and everything was happening, and we had everything was ready to go, and it fell over, and we didn't end up doing it, and we were devastated. But Allah knows best. We ended up going to a different state, and we were so much better for it. But at the time, we just don't know. So and that's something. It's quite difficult, quite a difficult concept. And I don't believe I've been tested to big degrees yet. I do get nervous about it, I guess. But knowing that I think they say that nothing will befall us unless it's like Allah knows about it, and it's destined for us.
Overcome it. Yes.
So to know to trust in His plan. Like there's always decisions happening that we want one thing, it doesn't work out, but that's okay for us. Like I do feel very comfortable about it. Like with moving over to Egypt, my parents back in Australia are a bit anxious because they've never been to Egypt, and they've got visions of whatever's happened on the TV in their mind. They don't know much about Egypt, so they do get worried, they get stressed. But I just say, Allah is here and He is protecting us. You don't need to worry. And whatever happens to us, that's what is meant to happen to us, good or bad. So it's as you said, it's not it doesn't mean that because you have Allah that's it. No one can touch you, and nothing ever bad is going to happen. That's life. We're here to be tested, to see in those moments, are you still faithful to Allah and still grateful for what you have, and stay connected with Allah, and know that He has plans for us, know that He's there with us and protecting us. So yeah,
it can very much be so.
A very difficult.
Sorry?
A very difficult concept, though, because I don't believe I've faced difficult scenarios, the death or illnesses or these sorts of things. I haven't faced those. So I do know that, other people have got different circumstances, very difficult circumstances, maybe difficult living arrangements, or, have had other, really sad moments in their life, which alhamdulillah, I don't believe I've faced. So, yeah.
It's interesting because it is so many different shades. It's amazing how the concept is so simple and it is still the same. I mean, people do struggle and people do. They are tested in really difficult ways, but the fact is that they are still saying to themselves the same thing, that Allah knows and Allah is not going to test me beyond what I can handle. So it's nurturing that faith. I mean, maybe Allah won't take the test away, but do you find that it can give you the peace of heart that you need, or the peace of mind? Just by
absolutely. It's just, and that's one of those changes, and that difference between between converting to Islam is trusting that the good and the bad. Exactly. Allah is here with me anyway. Even if it's bad, Allah is there with me, and still, talk more, pray more dua throughout the day. The more you do, the more you turn to Him.
It's never bad, right?
It's never bad because you always have Allah. That's right. But it's when if you were to turn away, Allah's not doing anything for me, and you're gonna go the other way. That's your test. Are you going to continue to follow the faith and continue to be with Allah, or are you going to it's difficult.
I just want to quickly touch upon, sorry to interrupt you. I just want to quickly touch upon the difference in, have you found any differences between the two communities? Like you mentioned, being raised in a really practicing Catholic family, and then suddenly, lo and behold, you've converted to Islam. Were you faced with any backlash, or at least very uncomfortable conversations? And same is true with the Muslim community. Did you feel welcome? Did you receive any good advice, bad advice?
I mean, with the Islamic community, of course, I've been welcomed like beyond what I could expect. You know, like I've been embraced so much that I'm just like, wow, like just wow. I'm overwhelmed with the support from the Islamic community. You know, I have a YouTube video that I've made, and the amount of comments and welcome I received, I was really blown away, and as well with the family and friends that I do have around, because my husband, obviously his family are all Islamic. From my family and my side, they were very much like, my dad was very much the same as I was with my husband, you know, like, okay, you've got your faith, I've got mine, that's it. You know, don't try and convert me, I won't try and convert you. But, you know, and that's how I was with my husband. Like, you know, you've got your side and I've got mine, and just don't try and mix us. They weren't, my family or my parents weren't, you know, against it. They weren't saying no, you know, you're not allowed to, and, you know, why would you do that? They were, you know, welcome to ask some questions. Like, you know, Mum was like, oh, but, you know, the women are not treated nicely there. You know, they're not allowed to pray in the same mosque and these sorts of things. So she had a few concerns, and we talked about those, which was really nice. Like, it was nice that she was happy to bring those concerns up. Because it just, you know, I love to talk about any of those issues, and so that she feels comfortable with how welcoming and how amazing is the religion. Then I have, from my video, I have had some family asking more questions as well, and trying to understand it a little bit more as well. So yeah, it's no one's really jumping out of their, like, from the Catholic side, no one's really jumping to want to know more and follow in the footsteps, so to speak. So a lot of people think early days, you never know. You know, a lot of people is like, my mum's like, oh, well, your husband's Muslim, so we thought you would. It's like, well, no, it's got nothing to do with him. Like, that annoys me to say that. Really
no, I understand why it would annoy you.
But yeah, I mean, I think most people can see that, you know, we were together for 10 years. They know our relationship, and they know us as a couple, and how happy we were before and how happy we are now. So yeah,
and that's massive kudos for not gloating, like, oh, I knew you I knew you, it only took 10 years.
No, he's been very patient.
So
yeah,
go ahead.
I've had an amazing journey. Like, one of his after I converted, one of his friends told me that he prayed for me when he went to Hajj.
Wow.
And his friend is someone that I didn't really know. Like, I saw him one time and waved hello, and that was it.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't believe it. I was blown away. I was like, why did he pray for me when he went all the way to Hajj?
Got goosebumps from that. Wow, yeah. That's
why?
Yeah.
Why? And I said to his wife, I said, I was blown away. Your husband prayed for me when he went to Hajj. And she said, without skipping a beat, she said, well, we want everyone to go to Jannah. And she's just the most loveliest lady, and she just had the most pure thoughts, the way she just said, you know, of course we prayed for you. We want you to go. Oh, it was amazing.
So amazing to have that certainty and, just complete conviction with knowing the answer and being able to answer people who have questions. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really such a beautiful and peaceful religion. It's amazing, the connection that you can get from it. the more you learn, the more you want to learn. And that's one of the amazing things. It's not about just, you're told that this is how it is and that's how it is. No, go and question it, go and research it, go and understand it for yourself. There are different, maybe there is a sentence and there's different interpretations for that, particular ayah, go and research it and feel what connects with your heart and what you feel is truth from that particular ayah, because Allah has said they're not all clear. So no one can have the one answer on every single ayah. Everyone, there will be different interpretations on the ayah. So it gives you that power. It gives you that power, and therefore you've got that conviction, because what you're believing is what you believe, not what you've been told to believe.
Do you feel like Islam has either evolved or changed any personality traits from before compared to now?
I can see that the Quran has obviously been made for generations. So, there was, Numan was talking about in the Quran how it says, about, men and women and being, I've forgotten the word, but before marriage, before marriage and after marriage, and they were saying, why would that be in there? Of course there wouldn't be, anything happening before a marriage. Like, why would you put that in there? But in this day and age, that does happen before marriage. So, it was definitely something that was, future. It was put in the Quran at that point in time when that wasn't even happening, but it's put in for now, for what is actually happening, what is quite common. So it's definitely, obviously, a miracle that it's been able to encapsulate so many different centuries and so many different standards of living all in one book. But in terms of, different people, different cultures and how they interpret it, then yes, I think that there are a lot of different interpretations of the culture of the Quran, or Muslims in general. Maybe they're not embracing all of it, or maybe they also have been brought up in a family where you sort of, you get told to memorize this and memorize that, but we're not connected. I think that, this connection that I was talking about with Catholic, I think that's the same in any religion. And being here in Egypt, where it's a Muslim country, you can see that not everyone is treating everyone the same, for example. So you can see, where it's a Muslim country, you think that everyone should be perfect people. But that's our daily challenge for everyone, to always just try and do our best to act a little bit nicer to everyone around us, and be mindful of as Prophet Muhammad has taught us, to live and to treat our family, our parents, our brothers and sisters. As Muslims, we're all brothers and sisters. And it's a big change here in Egypt, I must admit, from Australia. With this, we talk about the different levels of society. Someone said to us, you shouldn't speak to them because you're more prestigious. Excuse me? Like, no, that's my brother. Like, he may be a cleaner, he may be a security guard, or I don't know, but
it's totally irrespective.
No better than me.
I
am no better than him. He's probably better than me in the eyes of Allah. So there is in terms of embracing Islam, there's always more we can all do to make sure that we're all embracing Islam and treating each other, our family, our friends, and each other the best way possible.
That's so true. So if you were to address people thinking about becoming Muslim or learning about Islam, what would you like to say to them?
I would say, do it. I think that it's important for you to be comfortable yourself. So the more you read, the more you research, there's no rush. You don't have to know everything straight away. But the more you read, that's when you'll be comfortable with what you believe, and that's what Islam is all about. It's about actually giving you the power. It does say, I think it was the first revealed passage, is read.
Yes, that's correct.
So it's giving us the power, and that's what Allah wants to see, is that we actually are following the Quran and following the faith with conviction, because the more we know, the more we want to do. It really is, like with covering, for example, with the hijab. I have now covered and wearing hijab, because I can see 100% this Quran, they're words from Allah, and if He has said that is what is better for us, then that is what is better for us. He is much smarter than I am.
Yeah.
He's much smarter than me. So for anyone looking into it, just don't listen to anyone else. Don't listen to. You will get negative people in anything you do. If you say you want to, go and bake a cake, they're going to tell you don't do this and don't do that. That's going to be the wrong ingredient. They're always going to have a negative opinion. Don't listen to anybody else. Just follow your heart and follow your own mind and see where it leads you. If it leads you to Islam, that's wonderful. If that's not your path, then that's not your path. But if you let other people influence you, you'll never know what your heart and what your mind wants.
Incredible. It was my absolute pleasure talking to you today, Ellen. For people listening who would like to further contact you, would you like to give them your YouTube channel or any other way to contact you?
Yes, I do have my YouTube channel, which is called An Aussie Convert. And on my page or in the comment is my email address as well, which is aussiespiritoframadan@gmail.com. But yeah, I welcome anyone to contact me if they want to have a chat about anything on their journey. Of course.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Peace and blessings be upon you, Ellen.
Thank you so much for having me on today. It's been amazing, and I hope that if it just helps one person, subhanallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, Crystal.